going down on a winning Wednesday. Yes, you are listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation WFDF. It is stationed right here in Detroit, the oldest Black radio talk show, and it is stationed in Detroit but heard all over the world. And I'm excited to be your host for today. I know the song says, "Where my girls at? Where my girls at?" Well, they're not here on today. I am here all by myself on today. Sabrina, Caterina, and Gloria, all of them, of course, they live such busy lives. They had a lot on their plate and things that they had to do today. So they might be listening in, but of course I told them I would hold it down. And I'm excited to be here. You guys know how we do it. We come here Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 p.m. We talk about the issues. We talk about things that are in the news. We talk about a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But one thing I know for sure, we do our best to try to leave you inspired, encouraged, and to educate, right, on a variety of topics. And so on today, I'm excited because I have a guest and she's going to be joining us in just a few minutes. But you're probably wondering, and maybe you're not wondering, why I'm here on today in all of this pink. Well, of course, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And one of the things that we strive to do on our broadcast is to make sure that we're bringing you information that can help you, that can change your life, that can absolutely be that thing that will sometimes even save your life. And so breast cancer is a disease that affects so many millions and millions of women. And I'm sure that all of you that are either watching us on the 9:10 a.m. Facebook page or the Force of Friendship Facebook page could raise your hand if I ask if you know anyone that have been diagnosed with breast cancer or who have died from breast cancer. And so today we are going to be talking to one of my very good friends out of Chicago, and that is Barbara Bates. And she is the proprietor of Bates Design, and she is an awesome fashion designer. Many of the clothes that I wear, they absolutely have the Bates design or the Bates label on the inside. And so we're excited. I'll introduce her in just a few minutes. And so today our conversation is going to be all about surviving breast cancer. And maybe you are a breast cancer survivor, or you know of someone in your family that has survived it. We want to hear your story. So we'd love for you to call us at 313-778-7600 and tell us a little bit about your story. Because one of the things that I think is so important when you're talking about breast cancer, so many times we are inundated with all of the stories of individuals who passed from breast cancer. And many times we don't hear enough stories about those who survive breast cancer. And so we want to make sure that we not only give you the information that you need to be proactive in your own health, because our wealth is our health, right? We also want you to hear from individuals who have gone through breast cancer and they came out victorious on the other side. And I'm here to tell you there is life after breast cancer. But before I bring on my guest on today, I want to give you 10 facts about breast cancer. Some you may know and some you may not know. Breast cancer occurs almost entirely in women. 99% of breast cancer cases occur in women. And so that leaves 1% of breast cancer that occurs in men. So for the most part, we know breast cancer is a disease that affects mainly women. And then another fact about breast cancer is hundreds of thousands of women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. Can you imagine? Hundreds of thousands of women will be affected or diagnosed with breast cancer. The American Cancer Society estimates that 252,710 women will be diagnosed with invasive cancer. There will also be 63,410 new cases of non-invasive breast cancer. And let me just pause there and say, because that is the number, and it is an extreme large number of women that will be diagnosed, it is so important that you get your your yearly mammogram. That is so crucial, because I know that there are many women, had they gotten their yearly mammogram, their breast cancer would have been diagnosed earlier, and they could have possibly beat the disease. However, because it wasn't diagnosed soon enough, it had progressed to a very aggressive, or it was found at a later stage. So hear my heart on this. If you have not gotten a mammogram, and you've never gotten a mammogram, make this the year that you decide to have your first. And if you have gotten a mammogram in the past, and maybe you skipped a year and you thought, oh, I did it the year before last, do not skip a year, because so much can happen within a year's time. So it's just a reminder, we have to invest. We have to be our own advocates when it comes to breast cancer. Another fact is breast cancer is the second leading cause of cancer related to death. The second leading cause of cancer related to death. Breast cancer is the second, again, leading cause of cancer death among women. And number one is lung cancer. Wow. Number one is lung cancer. Another fact is over 3 million breast cancer survivors in the United States. There are more than, I should say, over 3 million breast cancer survivors in the United States. And as I said earlier, early detection is key, as it greatly increases cancer survival rates. With early detection, the 5-year survival rate for breast cancer is nearly 100%. Wow. Now that's a statistic that I like. That's a statistic that brings a smile to my face. With early detection, right, there's a 5-year survival rate for breast cancer. So again, it is so important that we take our health into our own hands, and we are our best advocates. Also, another fact is a woman's risk for developing breast cancer increases as she gets older. Wow, it increases as she gets older. So again, as we age, it is more important than ever to make sure that we, again, are getting our yearly mammograms, and it is important that you do your own self breast exam, because many times, I know individuals who the cancer or the lump was not found on the mammogram, but they found it because they were very diligent in doing their monthly self breast exam. So we play a part in sometimes discovering lumps that may not have been picked up on the mammogram screening, because maybe it happened after the fact that you had your mammogram. So also doing self-exams are so important. I'll go over a few more of those facts in just a few minutes, but before I continue, I want to go ahead and bring our guest on the show. If you would mind bringing in Barbara Banks. Yeah, give her a hand, Jalen. We're so excited to have you with us today, Barbara. Barbara is one of my favorite people in Chicago. And of course, she is my favorite designer. She has designed so many things for me, and she just has such a rich history there in the Chicago, Illinois area. I'm not going to read her entire bio, but just know that she is an amazing designer. She has been designing for years. Over the years, Bake designers have stood the test of time. Each piece from her collection represents hard work, creativity, and an attention to detail that's unwavering with a clear vision of what people want. In 1999, Bates founded her charity, the Barbara Bates Foundation, to help support and inspire inner city high school students. Today, the foundation's mission has grown to include breast cancer education and awareness. And that's one of the things that I really love about Barbara, is the fact that she is so instrumental in being a blessing to young people in the Chicago area. And we're going to talk a little bit about her surviving breast cancer and taking lemons and turning it into lemonade. And so I'm going to stop there with her bio. She is here on today, and I want to get a little bit into our conversation before we go to our very first break in just a few minutes. So Barbara, how are you doing? We're excited to have you on the show today. How's it going in
Thank
Chicago?
you. Thanks for reaching out to me on day number 4 of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Thank you.
You are so welcome. You are so welcome. So let's talk a little bit about when you were diagnosed. So I know a lot transpired before that, but I want to get right into talking about your story and talking about all of the amazing things that you're doing in the Chicago area. But let's start at the beginning, when you were diagnosed. So when were you diagnosed? What year were you diagnosed?
So I was actually diagnosed in 2009. I was just laying in the bed, and I had my arms wrapped around my body, and I had my hand on my breast, and I could feel a lump like a marble, like moving. And it was the first time I'd ever noticed it. And I said, I really didn't think much about it, but something just prompted me to go and have it checked out. I had not been getting mammograms because I did not think that I was at risk for breast cancer. I considered myself intelligent, but I had all of the wrong information. We're talking 13 years ago. So I just thought that mostly white women got breast cancer. I thought that if you had breast cancer in your family or cancer in your family, you were susceptible. And I thought that women with big breasts were the ones that were at risk for breast cancer, and all that information was wrong. So I went to the doctor. Yeah, I went to the doctor.
But let me stop you there. Let me stop you real quickly, Barbara. Okay, so you were diagnosed in 2009. Okay, and talk to us. How old were you when you were diagnosed, or when you felt the lump?
I was 52 when I was 52 when I was diagnosed, and I hadn't had a mammogram probably in about, I don't know, 6 years, about 6 years. Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean,
about 6 years.
It wasn't something I was regularly doing because, like I said, I had wrong information. I didn't have the education that I needed to know that I should have been at the doctor's office, every year for a mammogram.
Wow. And that is so important because, wrong information can kill you. It absolutely can kill you. So it is so important that we are our own advocates, and that we dispel some of the myths about, breast cancer, who can get it, who can't get it. And so we'll talk a little bit about that a little later in the show. So let me ask you this. What was your first reaction when you felt that lump? Was it like, oh my God, what is this? Or were you not fearful at all?
Nope, I really didn't get worked up about it. I mean, I just, in my heart of hearts, I knew that it was, I felt fine, and I didn't really get worked up about it. When I was 27, I actually had a lump in my breast, and actually the same breast, Barbara, the left breast.
Let me hold you right there. We're going to go to our first break. And when we come back, I want to hear about, the earlier lump that you had and how you felt. And we'll continue this conversation after our break. You're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship on 9:10 a.m. The Superstation. We are talking to designer, the proprietor of Bates Design, Barbara Bates, about being a breast cancer survivor. We'll be right back after this break. back. You're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship. I'm your host today, Crisette Ellis, and I'm excited to have my guest with me, Barbara Bates of Bates Designs out of Chicago, Illinois. And we're talking a breast cancer survivor's story. And so right before we went to the break, Barbara, you were talking to us about, when you were in your early 20s, you found a lump and that wasn't a big deal. Then you found this lump in your 50s and you still did not, you were not fearful. Talk to us a little bit about what your next steps were once you found it.
So after I found the lump, then I just decided that it would still be something. My luck was just like running bad during that time, so I say it's not going to hurt, just to go to the doctor and find out about it. And so I had a friend who's her husband was a physician at one of the hospitals here, and I asked her, was there any way that she could like get me in early, just so I could have it checked out? And she called back and said, yeah, I can get you in like right now. So it wasn't anything where I had to wait around and procrastinate. I just went straight to the doctor that day to find out, and went in, and it wasn't actually her husband who examined me because that wasn't his department, but he sent me to where I needed to be. And as I laid on the table, she felt my breast, and then she did an ultrasound, and the words out of her mouth was, she says, yes, you have breast cancer. And I just thought, I thought that you had to do like biopsies. I thought that you had to go there, but she seemed like so sure. And so she says, I believe you have breast cancer, but we are going to do a biopsy. We're going to do it right now. Just give us an hour or two. So I had to hang around the hospital. But when she said it, after that, everything just went numb. I mean, everything went numb. There's no reaction. There's no feeling that I could give you, because I was just paralyzed. I was stopped in my steps, and I just felt like there was no future to look forward to. My mind wouldn't even go there. I just didn't know what to think. I was a wreck. And I think the first thing I actually did is I just called a girlfriend who's really close to me, and I said, I've just been diagnosed with breast cancer. And she was at work, and I said, they're going to do a biopsy. And she left her office, and she came to be with me until they would do the breast cancer, until they would do the biopsy, to just give 100% sure that's what it was. So my mind at that point, it was just you're just making up stories. I love fantasy. So my mind was just going through things I saw on television, what chemo did to you. I saw myself hanging over a toilet and throwing up. I saw my hair being gone. And then I saw darkness. I saw nothing. So I saw everything possible to see. And I think way in the background, I saw that there was some life, but it was just hard to grasp it because I was in a space I'd never been in before.
So Barbara, I mean, I can't even imagine feeling a lump and, because of all of the preconceived ideas that you had about it, you go in and you're still not even thinking that it's breast cancer, but to hear those words, you have breast cancer. They give you a biopsy. You have breast cancer. So talk to us from the perspective, someone might be listening today or watching today who have just received the news that they have breast cancer. If you could go back, or if you could be in a room with women who were just finding out or just being diagnosed, what advice would you give to them?
So one of the things for sure is that 13 years ago is like a lifetime ago. All of the advances that have been made in breast cancer studies are unbelievable. They're amazing. 45% higher chance of surviving today than it was 13 years ago. That's very impressive to hear. Breast cancer is not a death sentence at all. There are all types of breast cancer. That's the one thing to know. And when I say all types, so many different types, and all the different types come with different types of treatment. So everyone does not get chemo and radiation. It depends on how far along your cancer treatment is, and it depends on what type it is. There are all these different, types that are lined up with it. So the oncologist is the one that pretty much puts the cocktail together of what they think is the proper treatment for what you have. I was diagnosed at stage 3 unfortunately.
Wow.
At stage 3, and I was giving 17 rounds of chemo, and then there's all different types of actually chemo medicine that goes into your vein intravenously. The other thing you have to realize is that I was someone who has never even had a toothache in life. So to be in
Mm.
my 50s and never had to go to the doctor for anything except to have children, this was very it was devastating. It was just like so going to the doctor every day became like sort of a routine. I was just like so against everything because I had to have so much treatment and my veins were hard to pull blood from. They suggested that I get a port put in my chest. That scared me half to death, and so I shied away from that. And so I had friends that would come and say, "Hey, we'll go with you when you have it done." So I was talked into getting the port. I'm so glad that I got the port because they didn't have to go into my veins. The port is so easy, you don't even feel the needle going through, and it just made everything easy. Even then putting the port in was a very simple, it was a very simple procedure. Then after that, you stop your life and you go for chemo. I really didn't know what was going to happen with chemo, but I never threw up once, not even one time. There's medicine, there are pills that they can give you, and so I never had that problem at all. I lost a lot of weight during chemo, and I'm not a big person to begin with. So for me, I lost weight because I lost all sense of taste in my mouth. And so just the urge of even wanting food was gone. The first few chemos were super easy, and I thought, I got this. But once it builds up in your system, then it gets you. It kind of like takes you to a space, and it's hard for me to describe what that feeling actually is, but you're just like not yourself. Then, there was just, I can only remember taking off work 2 days through that whole treatment. And, one of the days I was just like,
Wow.
I don't think I
So
can take
Barbara,
this.
let me ask you, so how long was your treatment? I know you said, I believe you said you had 18 rounds of chemo. So was that chemo once a week, twice a week? And how long did it take you to get through those 18 rounds of chemo? And did you have any radiation?
So the chemo was done, I believe, and everything. The thing about breast cancer too is that the facts don't stick with you as it goes on. It's almost like having a baby. Like, did it hurt? While I was going on, it hurt, but then later on, you're like, well, kind of. Sort of. So with chemo, all of my facts aren't exactly. I don't exactly remember, but I'm thinking that chemo was either every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, and it was for 3 hours. And so that took a few months for that to happen, about 4 months. And then after that, I began the radiation, which was a joke. I mean, it was a joke in terms of what just it was so quick, nothing hurt. But it wasn't a joke in terms of when the person comes in and marks your breast where you're going to be radiated, they run out of the room because they know how harsh the radiation is. A lot of women get horrible burns. I did not get any burning at all. Radiation took like 35 seconds, and I had to have that every day for 7 weeks. So the whole process of, and then I had a lumpectomy. So the lump was taken out first, then the chemo, then the radiation. So the whole process is about 9 to 10 months. And then after that, I was given another drug called Herceptin, and I stayed on that for a little less than a year. And so it's about a year and a half for the whole process to be over with. But when it's over with, everything is new. Like your hair falls out, but you get new hair because you're getting all of this
Mhm.
hydration, from the infusions. You have new skin. I say you have new skin. You have new skin over your entire body. Your feet become like a baby's behind, your skin on your face. And then not just the outward, but your whole perception of life and what's important and what things mean to you, that becomes brand new. So you get a whole new rebirth when you're finished with the treatment.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard women say, when they lost their hair, it comes back. And sometimes it even comes back as a different texture. And, many women have been able to recover, all of, their hair and whatnot. But I've absolutely heard many of them say that it absolutely gives you a different perspective on life. It makes you more appreciative. You don't get upset about the small things of life anymore because you're just so thankful and grateful to still be alive. So what I want to do, Barbara, before we go to our next break in just a few minutes, we're going to fast forward to you being cancer free. So talk to us about, when do the doctors tell you, or you get to ring the bell? I've seen it on TV, and I have a friend that just went through that process, and she was able to ring the bell because she was finished with all of her treatments, and they said she was cancer free. So how long have you been cancer free, and what was that like?
So,
and you know what, Barbara, I
think
tell you what, I'm going to have you hold that thought, because we're
Okay.
coming to a break. And so when we come back,
Okay.
I want you to tell us how long you've been cancer free. What was that like? You all, you're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship. Our guest is Barbara Bates of Bates Design out of Chicago, Illinois. She is a breast cancer survivor, and we're hearing all about her story. If you are a breast cancer survivor, or maybe you are in the midst of going through breast cancer, we'd love to hear your story. So give us a call at 313-778-7600. We'll be right back after this break. We are back. We are back from our break, and you are listening to We Got Issues on 910 a.m. The Superstation. We are talking to Barbara Bates of Bates Design out of Chicago, Illinois. We're talking a breast cancer survivor story. And so right at the break, Barbara, you were going to talk about, how many years you've been cancer free. What did it feel like? And I don't know, it's been, a while for you, so maybe they weren't ringing the bell back then, but just tell us how it felt when they finally said you're cancer free.
So first of all, like all of the treatments that I had, let me just say that every treatment that I had, a girlfriend was there. So they made it their business to come to every treatment. I wouldn't even tell them where the treatments were because I wanted to do it by myself, only because I needed the time to like daydream in my mind about what's in front of me, but they refused to do that. They would actually get the information from my first lady who actually knew my physician. So everybody knew when I was going to be there. And even if I didn't tell them, they would be in the chemo room when I showed up. So every day there was somebody there. I was so thankful when it was over because that meant I could get rid of them. I mean, so I could, it was like I could finally kiss them goodbye because I'm about tired of these sisters. They were there at every single chemo treatment, and they were sitting over there looking worried. And then they were like worrying me, like, is there something I should know that they didn't tell you? So it was great just to get rid and let them get back to their normal lives because my friends, they were really worried. And after I started getting the treatment, I wasn't as worried. I just figured there's something else for me. And so I started seeing more light at the end of the tunnel. I really did. And on that last day, I don't think I celebrated just in my mind. I celebrated. But the one thing I thought when I finished was breast cancer is so prevalent. Black women don't know how prevalent breast cancer is. Like, you all are out here because remember at this point, Robin Roberts, who had been going through breast cancer, we were going through at the same time. She finished before me. As I started my treatment, I started watching the morning news and heard her story. It was so ironic. But my circle of friends and friends of friends never talked about it. And when I told the world, because I can't hold water, I told everybody that I had breast cancer. So many people start calling, models, people that I work with, people who I knew, like, I'm a 6-year survivor, I'm a 5-year survivor. And I just thought to myself, well, why didn't you say something? It's because, Barbara, everybody's not a big mouth like you. But I just thought that I would want to share it. I would have wanted to know. So I had no idea how prevalent it was. But I also knew that if I was intelligent and didn't know, it was a bunch of other people that didn't. So the first thing I wanted to do was to start advocating for breast cancer and to start letting women know breast cancer is out here, you all. It's so serious. And then I started my move to transition the foundation into helping educate people about breast cancer.
Right. And that is so important. And you said a couple of things. You said that, you had individuals, your girlfriends that would show up and be there for you. And you know what? That's a beautiful thing to have individuals that care that much about you. I have a really good friend of mine, and she has an organization called My Sister's Pink Journey. And when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, it literally almost took her out. I mean, she just couldn't believe that she had it. But through her journey, she had family and friends that were there every step of the way. And that was the reason that she started her organization, because she also witnessed women that were having treatment and they had absolutely nobody there. They had no support. So I can't imagine going through that by yourself. But I think it is important, to have good girlfriends that are there. And of course, you want them to be positive. You don't want them to be worried. But of course, when you're, really close to somebody, you do worry. But one of the myths that we need to dispel is that women without a family history of breast cancer cannot or are not at risk. That is a myth. The majority of women that are diagnosed with breast cancer have no close relatives with the disease. So regardless of family history, you need to discuss mammography guidelines and schedule your regular screenings with your health provider. The biggest risk factors for breast cancer are being a woman and growing older. So that's all you need.
Absolutely.
Those are the two biggest risk factors. You're a woman and you're getting older. So don't think, oh, it's for young women. No, it is more prevalent in older women. So Barbara, let's talk about now, life challenges and obstacles can either make you bitter or make you better. And, what I love about your story is the fact that you made a decision that it was going not to make you bitter, but it was going to make you better. It was going to make you an advocate. And I know that you have been advocating for, women that are going through breast cancer. I know you have your breast cancer, the foundation, and I also know that you were doing a breast cancer walk. So talk to us a little bit about how you transitioned into saying, you know what, I've come through breast cancer and I believe God wants me to do something. So tell us how that all unfolded.
There's just like so many factors that that happened that let me know that it was nothing but God that got me through this. My pastor actually got me into Northwestern Hospital with the best oncologist that they had there. From the place that I got diagnosed at, I didn't stay there. My pastor opened up the doors for me to go to another hospital. I did not have health insurance until the day that I got diagnosed, which was June 1st, 2009. My insurance was approved, but I had never received the card. So I had insurance, but no way to really prove it. So those doors opened up for me and I received like unbelievable care over at Northwestern. After I received that care from Northwestern, I decided I wanted to advocate. I thought, how about using my fashion and give a fashion show and let all of the models be breast cancer survivors? So I just started out, by the seat of my pants, put together a fashion show, and I put it together at the actual hospital where I had my treatment. I used one of their like convention rooms, and we raised $50,000. And the hospital that I went to is Northwestern. It's a very prestigious, very wealthy hospital, and that $50,000 to me was like $1 million. And I just thought I could never turn this $50,000 over to them. I decided I wanted to turn it over to the hospital that was in my neighborhood in an indigent community. The hospital that I would always say, if I ever get sick, don't take me over there, because we think that the hospitals that are in our community, that they're not equipped. And God just like slapped me upside the head and said, that's exactly, if you're not going to go there for yourself, you're going to go there with some money, because that's where I'm going to lead you to. And I will introduce somebody at Mount Sinai Hospital, which is a community hospital, used to serve a really wealthy Jewish community many, many years ago, but now has stayed in the Black community, Hispanic community, and it is a major trauma center. So we gave the $50,000 to them. And after we did that, and it was through the fashion show fundraiser, then the president of the hospital called and said, we love the donation. If you could raise $500,000 in 5 years, we would name a center after you. And so I told him to kick rocks, that could never happen. I wasn't a fundraiser, and I just couldn't do a commitment like that. I let him know that 50,000 was like 50 million. And then after like a long courtship, an anonymous donor said, if Barbara says yes and puts her name to it, I'll put up X amount of dollars. And after that person put up the money for the hospital, then I said, let me fundraise. And so I started doing fundraisers. I did breast cancer walk, and we did it not on the big lakefront, but in the neighborhood, walk where you live, right where we live. We raised grassroots money. No big donations came from big major companies. We worked as waitresses. Restaurants would let us have the night. We worked as waitresses. We sold candy. I did another fashion show. And after 4 years, the money that was raised was $640,000. And just last year, which was a few years, they've sat on the money for a while, but last year they named the center the Barbara Bates Breast Imaging Center in November of 2021. And it's very humbling, a truly humbling experience. And the money that we gave them, they bought their very first 3D breast imaging machine.
And you know what's so interesting? And Barbara, congratulations. I mean, that is huge to have at a major hospital a room that is named after you because of your hard work and efforts to raise. I mean, like you said, $50,000. I can see, that is like $500,000, in the Black community, raising that kind of money. But over the course of 5 years or however many years, to have raised over $500,000 and to have them have their very first, and that just tells you, the need that is out there. Because if they are just now getting that imaging machine in 2021, look at all of the years that they were without that. So, I just want to say,
absolutely.
Yeah, kudos to you and all of those that donated and were part of the fundraising, because that's going to make a huge difference in your
And
community.
you donated every year for the walk. You never said no. I always sent it out to you, and so you've been a part. So that room has all of my friends' names on it. I'm not a woman of means. We did it as a group. My friends, people from the community. It was just done through a labor of love from everybody. So yeah, as I think about it and you say it, it's very humbling.
Yeah, it is. And that just goes to show you again how sometimes God allows things to happen to us to make us better. But many times it's about what you're going to do after the fact, how
what
you're
are you
going
made
to
of?
bless. Absolutely. So many people. And I always say, people say, oh God, I want you to use me. I want you, I want to be able to touch this number of people, my community, but no one wants to be the person to sign up for the put me in the breast cancer line, because that's going to make a big difference.
Absolutely.
We want to be put in the Lord, give us the number to the $4 billion lottery, and then I can help a lot of people. That's the line that we want to be in, but we don't get to pick and choose. We're going to go to our break, and then I want you to talk about your fashion show that's coming up this month. We want to know everything about that. So when we come back from this break, we're going to transition and talk about what's coming up in October. You guys, you're listening to We Got Issues on 910 a.m. The Superstation. We're talking to Barbara Banks out of Chicago, Illinois, a breast cancer survivor story. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break.
Thank you.
All right, we're coming back from our final break. I hope that you have been enjoying this conversation. We're talking about a breast cancer survivor story with Barbara Bates of Barbara Bates Design out of Chicago, Illinois. She has done so much in her community to raise money for women that are going through breast cancer. She just was honored with having is it the actual room at the hospital where they do the mammography, the imaging that's named after you, Barbara? Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, it's the Barbara Bates Breast Imaging Center. Actually, I sent flowers
Wow.
over there today.
The
So,
Barbara
yes,
Bates Imaging Center. Wow, that has a wonderful ring to it. Oh my goodness, that is so awesome. And as I said, it is going to absolutely change so many lives. So I know that, you have not stopped advocating. Again, you were diagnosed way back in 2009, and you are still doing things to help women that have been diagnosed. So talk to us about this amazing fashion show that you are putting together, and tell us about the date, where it's going to be. And for those who would love to go and support this event, give us all the details.
So this year, I have a fashion show. It's being held October the 23rd here in Chicago at a beautiful venue called Venue West. The portion of the proceeds will go to the Barbara Bates Breast Imaging Center. I'd like to see them get a second 3D breast imaging machine. I don't know if I want to do the whole 20 yards of fundraising for it, but once your name is on something, you do have to treat it like it's a child. So I don't want to treat it like a stepchild. So this will be the first fundraiser that I'm giving for the Breast Imaging Center. And so the fashion show will have, I guess, about like 50 fall pieces. We have Shirley Strawberry from the Steve Harvey Show, who used to be here in Chicago. She'll be our hostess, and Jean Sparrow from Chicago. We have a celebrity guest DJ, Cool Mo D, from back in the day in the 80s and 90s, one of the ones that I actually started with, who'll do a battle off with one of the house DJs. We have celebrity guest models, hoping that one was going to be you, but if not, we know you'll be sitting in the front row. So it's going to be like, a really great evening. With wonderful fashion, which is what really inspires me. And, it's what I do, not necessarily who I am, but I love fashion. I love seeing women look beautiful, and I'm loving that it was put on my heart to take fashion to raise money and do something else with. And there's nothing that I planned. It just sort of like happened. And so sometimes, since I tell you I'm a daydreamer, I daydream that, that if we do have that conversation with God before we're born, he tells us, okay, which life do you want? Do you want this one or this one? I can give you this one. I think I must have said yes to it. And so by saying yes, I was able to get the blessings on the back end, because, being all the things that I've been through that have been adversity, I was able to take them and do something else with them. It was only because I never wanted to fail, or I never wanted to like stop or sit down or be not be relevant. So I found other things to to attach myself to that were positive. And so I want to think that I said
Absolutely.
yes.
And that's one of the things I think that sets you aside from maybe other designers, is the fact that even during the midst of COVID, I know that you jumped right in and started, making masks and making sure that the police department in your area, that they were equipped and they had masks. And so, seeing a need and fulfilling it, I mean, that is just so awesome. So Barbara, this fashion show that's going to take place on Sunday, October the 23rd, what time is it going to start? And for those that are listening and watching us, if they're interested in attending, can you tell them how they can get tickets, or how they can, if they even if they can't physically be there, but they wanted to support this cause, tell them how they can do that.
So if anyone wanted to attend the fashion show, you can go to shopbatesdesigns.com. That's shopbatesdesigns.com, and you can actually purchase tickets there. And we are going to do a ask at the fashion show for additional funds to go to the Breast Imaging Center. We have a new president that is at Sinai, who is a Black female. She was actually the spokesperson during all of COVID. and she will be sitting in the front row. So we're glad to like honor a Black female president at Sinai. And so we still want to continue to have people give a chance to donate. The $1, $2, just like your small change could help make a big difference. And so it doesn't make a difference what people are willing to give, just as long as they give, with an open heart. So the fashion show is just like one way, that we'll do that. And yeah, that's kind of it.
Wow. I mean, it's going to be amazing, you guys. I was able to go to Barbara's fashion show last year, was there on the front row. And I'm telling you, the entire time, you literally need to have somebody to keep your mouth closed, because your mouth will fall open the entire time. And trust me, you're going to be sitting there saying, I want that, I want that, I want that. I mean, her fashions are absolutely beautiful. The fabrics are amazing, and the pieces are timeless. So I guarantee you, if you like fashion, but you also like fashion for a cause that's going to be a blessing to other people, you do not want to miss it. So make sure that you go to shopbatesdesign.com. Again, that's shopbatesdesign.com. It's at the bottom of your screen. And you can absolutely go there to get your tickets. And I'm sure somewhere there, if they just wanted to make a donation, they'll be able to do that. So Barbara, we're getting ready to go to our final close. I'm going to have you close us with final words. What would you want to say to all of the women who have survived breast cancer and those that may be going through breast cancer right now?
Well, if you're going through it, know that I am a survivor. It's not just a cute slogan. It's actually something that's the truth. It's the God honest truth. Your mindset will get you through most of it. Most definitely where your mind is, positive thinking. And for those of you who have not gotten a mammogram out there, I say get a mammogram. And the last word is address it now so that I can dress you later.
Wow, I love that. Address it now so that I can dress you later. Oh my goodness, I absolutely love that. You guys, getting your yearly mammogram is so important. If you don't take away anything else from this segment of We Got Issue, we absolutely want you to go ahead and schedule your mammogram, because early detection can be the difference between life and death. And for those of you that you are religious about getting your mammogram, make sure that you're a good girlfriend. Check with your girlfriends. Ask them, when is the last time you've had your mammogram? And if they look kind of puzzled, you need to grab them by the neck and say, I love you. I'm going to make sure that you get your mammogram scheduled, because I love you that much. You guys, thank you so much for watching us today. Thank you, Barbara, for sharing your story.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you soon.
In a few weeks, I know the fashion show is going to be everything. You guys have been watching and listening to We Got Issues, The Force of Friendship. We will be here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Have a great evening. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.